Prime Minister has chosen to avoid the potentially poor optics, or so he tells us, of calling an election during a natural disaster, which means we'll get a May election and they'll now have to deliver a federal budget on March 25.
I can clearly say that my focus is certainly not on votes, it's on people and it's on Australians at this difficult time, and I won't be doing anything to distract from that.
Great line, isn't it? The PM was asked today whether the longer lead time will allow the government to iron out some kinks.
Now that the election will likely be in May, does that give you more of a chance to travel to the US to meet with President Donald Trump about getting exemptions to tariffs?
Well, quite frankly, we're here concerned with what's happened here over the last 24 hours, and that's my focus at the moment. My focus has been solely on this.
So taking out Easter and the Anzac Day long weekends, it leaves the first 3 weekends of May as the most likely dates for the election. Albo, just a personal request, please don't make it the 3rd of May, because the week preceding is when the races are on in Warrnambool, and I would very much like to be there instead of sitting here. So if you can do me a favour, that'd be great. But Joe, what's the thinking here? Are we just going to get the cost of living budget to end all cost of living budget, so he's got something to go into an election to sell?
Yeah, look, it's incredibly enough, given that, you know, he's copped the cost of living crisis and the voice went terribly badly, as we know. But Albo's actually also been really, really lucky in a lot of ways. He got very lucky with the first 2 budgets and got a surplus. He's about to get, and this is the thing, this is the budget they desperately tried to avoid having. It took literally a natural disaster to force them to go through with this budget. And it now looks like it's going to be really, really good. There's been a massive windfall of about $12 billion that they weren't expecting. That will almost halve the projected deficit of $26.9 billion, except of course it won't, because they're going to spend that entire $12 billion on buying election goodies for the public, and it won't actually have any worse an impact than what the budget was already going to be in the first place. So they literally got gifted $12 billion. And of course, everyone says, well, you should use that to, you know, to reduce the deficit, pay off debt or whatever. I don't think so.
You know, why would you do that with an election?
So you get a car park, you get a car park, you get a car park.
Exactly. So, but do we really believe, Parnell, this line that it's about the cyclone, or the ex-tropical cyclone as it now is? Is it not just an opportunity to go full term? And why wouldn't you go full term if you're Albanese and could potentially lose this election? So it does buy you some more time. And, you know, sure, a budget may not be ideal, but it is an opportunity to try and have that one last ditch bid to get some good news out there.
Absolutely. And of course, elections always come down to when you think the best timing is going to be so that you can win it. And I think that they really were going to go this weekend, announce it this weekend. And that would have been with the calculations in mind of, we can announce, you know, that there is an extra surplus then on the books, that we can have a statement about how well things are doing. We have the, you know, interest rates going down. All of these things are coming together, and also, frankly, just shorten the campaign, because Albanese doesn't do very well in the polls when he's visible. So the less time you can have him in front of the cameras and people being reminded about him, the less popularity he loses. The most popular he's been recently was over Christmas, when nobody saw him.
So what is the idea then, Claire, that if we have a bit more Jim Chalmers and a little less Albanese, we might, or they might fare better anyway?
Well, I saw recently that we're just outside of a per capita recession. We had like 0.1%
after 7 straight quarters of decline.
That's right. After the worst per capita recession on record since the Depression. So maybe they're counting on that 0.1%. Right. Maybe
we're out of the per capita recession, isn't it great?
Maybe it's going to double to 0.2% over the next 6 weeks or so.
Well, that'd be nice, a doubling, Kel, but is anything really going to be enough to deliver a sizable boost to Albanese? Because if you look at all of the polling at the moment, indicates that on a 2-party preferred basis, the coalition is ahead. Not that it necessarily means they could form a majority. You're looking at some kind of minority arrangement, but the YouGov poll, which went down to the seat-by-seat basis, said that the coalition would be in a better position to form a government. Is a budget something that could get Albo over the line?
No.
No chance. No chance. It's not going to help him at all. I mean, the extra $12 billion is tax money. He's got a big tax harvest.
Not anymore.
It came from us, right? He hasn't, and this business of we had 7 per capita recessions in a row, 7 quarters in a row, and the last one just is not a per capita, but no one feels it. Everyone knows that our standard of living has fallen. Everyone feels that our standard of living has fallen. That's why I think he really did, as Parnell said, wanted to get this election over and done with. He didn't want to go on with the race for any longer. And when I think of him going to an election in May, I remember that May Day, May Day, May Day is a distress call. And that's what I think it is. He is distressed and he's doing what he has to do, not what he wants to do. And I'm not sure that it's going to work for him. I mean, they used to talk about Dutton being unelectable and they were so confident about that. But Albanese has got such a bad image now. And people don't forget the things that he's done. People haven't forgotten the voice. You know, they haven't forgotten this little man standing up saying, I'm give you no details. I won't tell you how it will work, how many people will be on it, how often it will meet, how much, but just vote for it. They haven't forgotten that. They haven't forgotten the criminals who were in detention and who were released. They haven't forgotten the things that have happened. So, and as Parnell said, he doesn't campaign well. There's actually a history of the Liberal Party building votes during campaigns, and that happens for the Liberal Party. There's no history of Albanese doing that. I think he's going to have a dreadful election. And I wouldn't be surprised if Dutton got those extra 18 seats and got to 76 and formed government. I wouldn't be surprised.